Everyone, welcome to MindBody TV. I am Dr. Kim Duramo, and today I'm going to share a really powerful exercise that really helps ignite cellular healing. But the important thing about this, it's not just like physical healing. This kind of cellular activation has a powerful effect on your life. So my whole premise with being a physician that teaches about mind-body medicine and self-healing is this understanding that we are electromagnetic. This is the most important, essential foundation to even begin to understand how the body heals itself and how we are creators, how we are, manifesting our reality through our own consciousness. And so the premise of this work was I'm going to share a little bit why, what does that mean that we're electromagnetic? What is energy? How does that create and generate? And why does shifting your frequency become then that like really powerful, the most powerful leverage point for manifesting your life? So stay tuned, and we're going to get into this as well as a really powerful exercise for that activation. So thank you for tuning in, whether you're live or listening to the podcast or the recording. So hello, everybody in the MindBody community and Facebook. I would love to hear, where are you tuning in from? Here we go. And hello to everybody in Instagram and in YouTube. Be sure to subscribe in YouTube and hit the like button. And that's going to allow more people to find our broadcast, which is going to be a really good thing to do for the world. So welcome here. Slovenia, welcome from Slovenia, Montreal, South America, Colombia, Olympia, Washington, Los Angeles, Indiana. Another from Indiana, Chicago. Great to have you guys. BC, Canada. Another from Washington. I just put out the message yesterday that I'm going to be speaking at an awesome event that takes place in Melbourne, Australia in April. So for those of you who are from that area, I would definitely get your ticket to attend. It's going to be an incredible event. In fact, someone wrote to me today, well, I don't know if I'm interested in many of the other people, although there are amazing, amazing people at this event. Like, I'm so excited to meet. But even if you just wanted to come to my workshop, like 100%, well worth the price of admission, worth way more than the price of admission. So like, definitely get your ticket, even if it's just to come to the portion of the event that I'll be guiding you through. It'll be a really, really powerful workshop for basically how our consciousness creates our reality and how to really step into who you're here to be in the world in the most powerful way. It'll just be incredible for everyone. I think the event's going to be awesome. I'm super excited to be going to Australia because I've never been there before. So this is quite a big announcement. I'm so excited. All right, so let's get into it. The first piece that is the premise for this work is that we are electromagnetic. It appears that we're just solid physical stuff and that our body ends at the boundaries of what we see in the solid body. However, we have seen scientifically that the human electromagnetic field can be detected up to 8 to 10 feet away from your body, and that carries a frequency, a very specific impact, depending on what's going on inside you, your conscious and unconscious thoughts and beliefs, your conscious and unconscious emotions. All of these make up your energy field. And this specifically expresses energetically, even if you're not aware of it, what your consciousness is, right? Are you like in a space of, I love myself fully, I let myself be free, it's okay for me to be exactly as I am, and putting out that message to your own cells and to your world? Or are you consciously or unconsciously holding the vibration of, I don't deserve to be free, I'm not good enough, guilt, right? Like, if we're still berating ourselves over something we did in the past, we haven't actually forgiven, or we're holding anger at someone else, these are really low vibrations. It's important to understand it's not the emotions that are like toxic. So like, I better never feel my fear because that's going to be destructive. It's actually the resistance. If I'm resisting or rejecting these emotional states. That is where the toxic energy states come in that create inflammation in your body, that activate stress hormones and stress chemicals that literally lead to every major disease most people are dying from. So, not an insignificant problem. And what I have seen as a physician is that this is the number one most powerful determining factor in whether you get healthy, vibrant, you're getting younger as you go forward, or whether you develop disease. So, this isn't an insignificant factor in the mix of what gets created in your life. And so you may have heard, and this is Thanksgiving month over here in US, that gratitude is a really high vibrational frequency, that gratitude helps heal your body. And there is so much truth to this, and also a lot of misconceptions about this. And so I wanted to sort of like give you an understanding of what this means scientifically, energetically, and why it's so powerful. And then how do we activate like the real potency of gratitude as opposed to the fluffy, like, someone said to me, well, I do my little grats, but like they don't really make a difference. So that's the difference is like, I'm doing these little grats. Oh, I'm grateful for my pen. I'm grateful I have a computer so I can do my work. I'm grateful for, my water bottle. Well, that's lovely. I'm not discounting that. But what I'm saying is, unless we actually generate a cellular activation with this exercise, we're really leaving a lot on the table. And it becomes kind of a fluffy thing that we don't even bother with anymore. So, how do we create that ignition? We've got to create an emotional shift. We've got to create a charge. So, if you think of something you're grateful for or excited about or would be so excited about if it were happening, that will do as well. Share that with me in the chat because this is where we find the real potency. What are you excited about manifesting? What are you attempting to manifest? What are you sort of hoping and wishing for? What is your heart's desire? What is your heart's deepest desire right now? Oh my God, I would love blah, 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 blah. Like I'm looking at Airbnb and these beautiful, beautiful places in Melbourne. And I'm going with my daughter. And they're like these gorgeous, amazing views, top to ceiling to floor, windows, like right next to your bed. So you wake up and you're like, magnificence of this view, beautiful style and decor. And I'm looking at these places like with a pool or, they're just so, it's uplifting, right? It's exciting. Oh my gosh, this would be so cool. That's a different vibration. Even if I'm not there, still lifting my vibration, still getting into the energy of it. Now, a lot of people don't necessarily venture into that if they think, well, yeah, but I can't do that. They're already in a conclusion that suppresses their vibration. You're not helping yourself out by being, quote, realistic because you don't even realize what's actually real and what's actually possible. Most of us, we're just living from programs and conclusions. So don't be afraid to think too big and get too expansive in the wow of like, oh my God, what if? Blah, 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 blah. In fact, play the what if game. It's in the MindBody toolkit. I'll give a little plug for the book because we are creating the audiobook right now. And I think it's tool number 6. Play the what if game. One of the tools in here. What if? Wouldn't it be amazing if blah, 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 blah. And you just like have a little fun playing with that because it increases your frequency. There's really great 10 tools you can use anytime, anywhere to elevate your frequency, shift your consciousness, and heal your body. And that is at drkimd.com/book. Awesome Christmas presents if you want to order a bunch to give as gifts. I can't think of a more awesome and potent gift you could give to anybody. It's also very readable. It's not like a big, thick research book. It's more like a go-to. There's also a lot of like explaining the science behind this. So it's not super woo-woo. It's very, very tangible. Awesome book for pretty much anybody who's interested in, living a more full life and healing. Okay, so let's look at some of the things. When does it come out? The audiobook I am not exactly sure yet, because once we have everything submitted, it could be a known amount of weeks for the approval. So is it 2 weeks? Is it 4 weeks? So we don't really have a date yet, but soon, definitely before the spring, possibly much, much sooner. All right. So, thank you for asking. What if I could be successful in everything I take part in? Yes, Patricia. Hello from the Netherlands, and somebody else from France, which is super cool as well. I would love to be free of pain and live more fully. Awesome, Lisa. So whatever it is, feel it in your system. What if? Oh, wouldn't it be amazing if? And bring that in. You actually want to generate a change in frequency. I would love to maintain and elevate my current state of vibe throughout most of my life. Patrice. Yeah, or like throughout all of your life would be even more awesome. Chris, to manifest having the most wonderful time at the beach house we're renting for Thanksgiving. Awesome. All right, so we're going to talk about one way to activate that beforehand, which is an awesome practice I've used with like writing the book, because I'm writing the next book right now, as well as working on the audiobook. So like any of these little projects, you go in for a segment to do that session, but there's something you can do first to ignite this cellular activation before you do it. So we're going to talk about that as well. To live feeling good, free from heaviness, light, free of worry. So maybe just like feel light and at peace. Because also when we're doing this, bring your focus into what you do want. You could actually leave the heaviness part of the equation out of the sentence, just get into the lightness. And I'll explain why. Sounds of Gaia, to do work that comes from the heart and attracts prosperity into my life. Awesome. Oh, someone from Montreal. Hello. A new home and land. I would love that. Awesome. Good for you, Mark. Music and dancing the night away. I have a huge difference when I feel gratitude and then go deeper into why. Okay, so thanks, Heidi. So this is the first thing I wanted to share is when we add the why, like I'm grateful for my green drink. I do have green drink, okay? I'm so grateful for my green drink. And I love how it makes me feel alive. It really nurtures my body. It really juices me up. I feel so vibrant and powerful. Okay, the why is really where a lot of the activation lies. Let me see if that's working the right way. So don't leave that on the table. Like don't leave that out of the equation. Go into why. I'm really grateful for the MindBody toolkit, because it's awesome to be able to get something across in such a simple, concise way. And I don't have to spend like hours and hours with someone. They can go and take this and revolutionize their health and get it and come to a whole new frequency within themselves from reading it. Oh my gosh, it's so awesome to have that now. Okay, so even if you want to write a book and you haven't, do the same thing. Oh my gosh, it'll be so awesome to have blah, 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 blah. And then feel the activation of that cellularly. If you can begin to come into the proximity of that frequency, the frequency of that manifestation, you begin creating it. So feel the landmark. I have this home with land and it's awesome and it's mine and I feel safe. I feel at ease. It's supporting my lifestyle for me to be in that space. There's spaciousness of land. Oh, it's so great. Now, if you do the what if game, you can even like have that conversation with your friend. Isn't it amazing? We found that house. Oh my gosh. Yes. I remember when you called me up and told me it was so cool, right? As if it already has happened, right? And you don't have to know how it happened, because it's like, wow, remember you guys were like totally surprised that how easy it came into your lives, like completely unexpected, just flowed right into your life and everything just worked out on your behalf for it to come in. Oh yeah, it was so awesome. I'm so grateful to have had that happen. Okay, so play the game. You're going to get into a higher vibe and a higher possibility, but it's actually activating cellular change. So what happens when we do this? It's not just a fluffy, airy, fairy thing. We are generating different chemicals in our body, different hormones. We're activating different neural pathways. We're sort of like turning off other neural pathways that are not useful. And we are even affecting what's happening at the level of our DNA. what has been shown in the study of epigenetics is that these cellular, physiologic, and electromagnetic changes that happen when we come into gratitude, especially in the way that I'm describing it, will affect the way your genes are working. What gets turned on, what gets turned off, what gets repaired, what gets deleted, and you're like not even going to have that disease. It is way more essential, the epigenetic, meaning the environment those genes are bathed in, on the gene expression of disease or health, than it is the genes themselves. Now, I know there's a lot to the study of genetics, and it can be helpful to look at like, whoa, I have the genes for this, I got the genes for that. But even more potent, even more powerful, determining whether you get sick or stay healthy is the epigenetic environment. And that's your cellular environment you are walking around on in a regular basis. Are you walking around in fear thinking, yeah, right, this fluffy blonde girl shouldn't know what she's talking about. I've got real issues here. We can't just be happy pappy all the time. And that's kind of your vibe, in which case you're going to experience the life at that level, at that occurrence. Like what happens in your world is going to be different than what happens in somebody else's world. Are you in a space of like despair, right? Well, I wish I could have that, but I know I can't because nothing ever works out for me. In which case, embracing the despair is going to be the most powerful thing you can do to come into a higher vibe. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about, which is what has it be different from like, I do my little gratitude practice to actually having an activation, is looking first at where am I vibing right now? So take a few deep breaths. Relax your shoulders. Let everything go. And just bring your awareness to your body. Hi, body. How are we doing? Where am I at right now? How do I feel? And if 10 was like exuberant, elated, joyful, and 1 was like, I'm totally miserable and apathetic, where are you? Probably somewhere in the mix of that. So sometimes you can just grab a number like, all right, I'm a 5. You don't have to know what emotions you're in. You don't have to label it, but you're like, where am I vibing? If 10 is the max, right? Maybe a 6, maybe a 7. Maybe since you started this broadcast, you're in an even higher space. Maybe since starting this broadcast, watching Happy Pappy Girl, you're like, F you, and you're in a lower space. It doesn't matter. It is triggering something. And that something, whether it's despair or it's anger or like judgment, is what's here for you to embrace right now. And so what if you just did that? What if you receive this moment and you receive the judgment of like Happy Pap Girl who doesn't know my pain, and you're like, what's happening inside me? Just get curious. Breathe in and breathe out. Welcome everything arising in you because there's wisdom behind it. If you felt lighter, more uplifted, more energized, welcome that. And you can kind of put your number in the chat. Welcome that. All right, cool. I feel pretty high. I feel pretty light. This is great. Yes, I am the narrator for the audiobook, which is an awesome thing to be doing. All right, so noting where am I vibing right now? So that's the first step, right? A, awareness. Everything is always that instant elevation. We're going to drop into the body, and A is the first step, ABC. Awareness, high body. Okay, now, one little thing I was talking about, right? What we do before we go into the grats that really lets it be activated is if I notice I'm in a really low vibe, I have to honor that first. I can't just be like in the pit of mucky despair, loathsome or apathy, like, ugh, and then try to make myself feel good, because that's just dumb. And that's just sort of like self-abuse. So I spoke last week about how to use gratitude to shift a bad mood. And this is a really, really wise way to use it. It's not the airy fairy fluffy, let me just feel better. It's actually to let yourself drop into what you are feeling and acknowledge the benefit of doing so. Okay, so what I sometimes have people do is do first, before you do the grats, do a swamp. And you're like, grungy, mucky, swampy, icky stuff that's here just gets acknowledged. right? Like I swamp, I'm never going to feel better. I'm never going to get well. I can't have what she's having. I swamp, there's lots of ideas going on in my system. I swamp, I'm totally judging this. I swamp anything negative, right? Like quote unquote negative, just acknowledge it. And so when I feel really mucky, I'll do a whole page and just keep going and going and going and going. This part of me has something to say, right? So I can't go to like, let's be grateful if I don't first acknowledge what's here. And so there is a video on my YouTube channel, and I think it's called Swamping, something to do with swamp, that you can find where I guide you through that exercise. But in very basic general, just write out all the negative thoughts, all the negative feelings, all the negative rant. Give it space. Do not try to be positive, because that's like putting ice cream on top of poop. Like, no matter how good that ice cream might be, it's still poop. So, where you're going with that. Don't go there. Got to rant and let all that, because what are you doing? You're airing out the dark. Airing out the dark is light. Suppressing the dark like strengthens the dark, right? And people are afraid to acknowledge the negativity, but this isn't like venting where it's like, I'm just going to let myself be so negative. Can you believe? And this happens to me all the time. Why does it happen? Right? It's not complaining. It's giving space to the thoughts, the emotions, the ideas that have lived in my system that are not serving me. Giving space, right? So you do your rant, you write it down, you take the paper, hold it to your heart. I honor all of these thoughts, ideas, and emotions. It's okay. You're in my energy field. It's okay. I've been thinking and feeling this, right? Because having these thoughts and emotions and accepting them is a way higher frequency than having these thoughts and emotions and suppressing them, trying to change them, trying to get over them, trying to make them go away, trying to feel positive instead of feel what I feel. That is toxic. Okay, conscious. So just tune in. Hey, body, how are we doing? And no matter what that number is, do not judge it. But if you're like 5 or below, even maybe 6 or below, maybe it's time for a rant. Say for sure 5 or below. All right, now you've cleared that. You've said thank you. You've welcomed it in, okay? I'm 2% more at ease. I'm 2% more in self-acceptance. Now you can move into the gratitude part, right? You can move into, I choose to come into a higher frequency. The only way you can choose to come into a higher frequency is to be willing to be at the one you're at. So it's not like I'm going to reject my low vibe and I want to get to this high vibe. I've got to actually start where I am and walk myself into something even more expansive. You can't have more of what you don't already have. You can only create more of what's already here. So if there's 2% lightness, we can work with that. We can expand that. But if it's so heavy and grungy, do the dump first, do the rant first. And then at least at the end of that, you have the lightness of, I'm willing to look at what I'm feeling. I'm willing to write it down and acknowledge it. I'm willing to welcome it and say, it's okay, I'm feeling this. Right now you've got some lightness and you can expand with that. Get a lot of comments. 5452. Hello from Switzerland. 2, exhausted and heavy. Embracing the despair can help you be in a higher vibe. Where am I vibing right now? Thank you, KR. Donna, happy Wednesday. Struggling with being a caretaker. It's affecting me psychologically. Since listening to Kim, I am slowly changing my reaction of being their caregiver. I'll not allow others to affect who I am and how I feel. Awesome. Andre, I want to be completely healthy and live on a farm with my beloved, have a family and a successful business. Awesome. So keep inviting the vibe of that. So how do we do our grats? You could start with like, I am grateful I have this image of how my life could be. There's some clarity there. Farm, cool. And you're with your beloved. You have a family. There's some kind of business. I'm grateful there's possibility that I have some clarity about that I would love to receive in my life. Patricia, it's so wonderful that the scientific community is getting more and more involved in these questions. Cool. Oh, Mark said, you painted such a beautiful picture. Yeah, that's the energy of your heart's desire. Carol, I'm halfway through your book. I'm a little stuck in concepts that feel in opposition. On the one hand, allowing and accepting, feeling your feelings without judging. And on the other hand, thinking better thoughts, feeling better thoughts. It's actually the same thing because it's a higher thought to be grateful for that I'm even aware of my despair. I'm grateful that I'm aware there's shame and fear here, because that's a higher state than like where most people are, where they're just avidly running from their fear, avidly trying to solve, everything that's here rather than face it. So they're not actually in opposition, because reaching for a better thought is I'm acknowledging where I am and I'm allowing expansion. So it's both and that's really important when you're doing this work, because otherwise it really just becomes more self-rejection. And I think I've kind of gotten that across here with how a lot of people are using gratitude to kind of like get to a higher place or be positive. And that just leaves a lot of energy sort of stuck at the bottom, ignored. That's never going to be what creates wholeness. So if I acknowledge what I'm feeling and I'm willing to feel light, I acknowledge what I'm feeling and I'm willing to celebrate my courage for actually feeling what's in here instead of avoiding it. I acknowledge what I feel and I'm willing to accept it, is a higher thought, is more self-acceptance. So it doesn't mean you believe that thought. It doesn't mean you buy into it. It doesn't mean you live there. Just means you're no longer in rejection. Okay, 6.37. All right, Katie Rose, 6.37. That's really cute. Mona, 3 is the highest after joining the call. I was in minus before. All right, so start by honoring, just like KR says, honor the low vibe first. Drop into what you are feeling. You can't go anywhere when you abandon yourself. You can't go anywhere. I don't care how much gratitude you practice if you're abandoning yourself. You have to bring it with you. Welcome what's here. All right. All right. Seemingly never ending pit of despair. You're welcome to be here in my body. Let's see what's possible. I swamped many pages today. Yeah. Don't eat poop. Yes. Thank you. Airing out the dark is light. All right. Well, let me see. Grace for the swamp and grace for the gratitude. Yeah, it's all of it. It's all of it. They're not separate things. Okay. So the activation really becomes, and I do 10 a day. Sometimes it's rolling and I do a few more, but every single day I do 10. If you write it pen to paper, there's actually more activation that happens in your nervous system. So get a journal, write it on a piece of paper. But I do have an app that I've used that I really like. Or you could just journal it in your notes, where you just write it in your journal, in your phone, because maybe it's just easier to get it done. If you do it that way, that works as well. So you're going to use the thing, like I'm grateful for my husband, but you're going to add the why, right? Why right now? I'm grateful because we have this amazing family life, that we really work together. We have shared values. We absolutely love each other and we value our marriage. Like we value being in love with each other. So if we're off, we like want to bring that back. We're both really devoted to actually having a freaking awesome marriage, as opposed to like, well, it's not that bad kind of marriage, right? Like sometimes people are not there, right? They're kind of doing the ho hum. They don't think they could have more, so they don't even bother to try, right? Versus like, I really appreciate my husband and my marriage because we both know we really can have that, and we go for it all the time, putting energy into that. I mean, that's a long grat, but go to the why. There's always more than just the first thing. I'm grateful for our broadcast, right? We've been doing this for years, and I could really activate this even more by dropping in and acknowledging how freaking awesome it is. Like I'm doing one transmission, but it's going to so many different people all over the world on different, platforms. It's useful for me. I love doing it. I look forward to it. And I have a way to like express myself that really makes a difference. How awesome is that? Now, you don't have to have the thing already manifested to give gratitude. I actually gave gratitude for this exact thing years back when I didn't even like have a community, right? And I'd get into like, oh, I'm so grateful and thankful. There are people who resonate with my work, and I get to do this and make a living and have an amazing lifestyle that I love and do work that is so meaningful to me. I'm so grateful and thankful, right? Are you willing to let that in, even though it hasn't shown up in your 3D yet? That takes courage. That's a bold move. That's a bold thing to do. You know, years back when I was still working in the ER, I would go and give gratitude. I'm grateful and thankful. I do what I love to do and I'm best at, and the universe is rewarding me and supporting my lifestyle. I'm so grateful and thankful. I'm doing what I love to do and am best at, and the universe is rewarding me and supporting my lifestyle, right? So feel the frequency of that. It's like, whoa, that's so supportive. But this was way back when my mind was like, yeah, right. That makes no sense. I'm not going to get paid for doing what I love to do and I'm best at. I got to do something hardcore. You know, I didn't understand fully, but there was this little part of me that was willing to try it out. This little part of me that knew, yep, that feels light. That's my truth. That's my truth, even though I don't see it. That's my truth, even though I don't maybe fully believe it. I'm choosing my truth. So see if you can do this practice every day, 10 grats a day. Do them in the morning, do them before you go to bed. I actually do them in the morning and I review them before I go to bed. So you kind of like get 2 for 1. And you just kind of feel into the of it. You feel into the yes of it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll read number 1. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That, whatever that number 1 was from the morning. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That, because that's what's going to ignite the cellular. Can you feel it? If you can't feel it, too little swamping. Acknowledge the shit that's in there because it is worthy of your acknowledgement. It is worthy of your presence. It's not about being positive. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Your message is so deep. It's beautiful that you come and stabilize in this higher state. The other thing, thank you, Patrice. You're not always going to feel like doing it. Like I'm putting energy into my system to generate new neural pathways, to generate different hormones, to generate a new internal state, to generate a higher electromagnetic state. If that's not already my baseline, I'm going to have to put energy into the system to bring that about. So it might be, you know, kind of like for me, if we go to the pool and you're dry, right? And I'm going to jump in and get wet. It's like, oh, state change. Oh, I don't want to get wet. Now you're in the pool and you're wet and you got to get out and get dry. State change, right? You got to put energy in for that state change. So sometimes I just remember that, like, it's all right. Once you're getting in there, you're going to get the greases moving. You're going to get the ball rolling. It gets more effortless as you go. But sometimes in the beginning where you're like, oh, I'm feeling a 5, I'm feeling a 6. It doesn't feel as fluid, right? If I'm already at a 9, I'm like, boom, 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 boom. If I'm at a 5 or a 6, got to start where I am. I'm grateful I'm showing up for my practice today, even though I don't feel like it, because there's a part of me that is in true devotion. Start with that one, right? You don't have to feel good. You just have to be grateful. Okay. Now you start like, get the gears moving. It's a state change. So sometimes you're like, all right, it's okay that this is not easy. It's not a happy pappy. I'm so grateful. That's where I think a lot of people do like I said, someone said this morning, my little gratitude practice. And that's what it used to be for me, which is why I really didn't make this a part of my life. It is a daily part of my life. It has made a massive difference for me. So I would invite you to honor and find, quote, gratitude, which is just welcoming what's here, even when you feel grungy. Like welcome the grungies, because it's the resistance that makes it toxic. It's what you resist that persists. So what if I welcome it? What if I'm okay that I feel as grungy as I feel? What if I'm willing to feel as grungy as I feel? What if I choose? Why would I do that? To feel as grungy as I feel. Why would I choose that? Because then I'm in power. I'm not a victim. As soon as I choose to be where I am, I'm not a victim. Even if the thing didn't change and it still feels grungy, I'm not a victim. I'm at choice. So are you willing to choose like the shitty things happening in your life? Are you willing to choose to feel the density? That is a bold, courageous move. Heidi said, invitation accepted. Patrice said, there's definitely an energetic hill to climb in order to fall in a higher state, a stable state. Yeah. Yes. How do we go about doing this without attaching an outcome to it? It's just about the frequency. It's not about the thing like, oh, it'd be awesome to have strawberry ice cream with those little like, sprinkles they put. And I love the texture when they crunch. And I don't even have to go eat a strawberry ice cream, but I could get into the feeling of it. I'm like, oh, I love that. I don't have to be an attachment. Oops. What if you don't know what you want to manifest? So just go into, what if I were in the lightness of having my deepest heart's desires come into my life effortlessly? I don't know what they are, but wouldn't it be awesome to like be surprised when they show up? Just have awesomeness come in. Wow, that was so easy. I didn't even plan for that. This cool thing happened. So start with the general. See myself doing this just yeah, because Chris is like, how do I not get attached if I'm doing this just to get rid of the symptoms, which I don't guess is the point. This is a great question, and I want to share a little bit on this. When we do a thing to get the outcome, now we're doing like a means to an end. It won't actually activate the same ignition. When we do the thing to give ourselves the gift, it's a lot more powerful because now it's unconditional, right? I'm going to bring myself into presence just to give myself, my cells and my body, the gift of my presence. Now, whatever happens is gravy. Oh, I feel better. Oh, that's a bonus. Oh, awesome things happen to me. That's an even bigger bonus. So I would always, always go back to, I'm doing this to be generous with myself. I'm doing this to give myself the love I'm so deeply missing. Because why do you want that house? Why do you want that ice cream? Why do you want that beloved partner? So that you feel more alive, so that you're more in joy, so that you feel more free. Why do you want money? So you feel more free, right? In some way. So always put the big rock in first. Wait, go to the end of that. Why do I want my body to heal and now I have health? Oh, so I feel joy. I feel grateful to be alive. I feel good and I feel comfortable. Okay, so put that first, right? I'm going to do my gratitude practice so that I feel more loved, so that my cells feel my presence and know I am loved. If you put that in first, all the other stuff can't not happen. But if you reverse it, that's actually in the book too. It's called the chapter on be, do, have. Exactly a whole chapter on that. So that was an awesome question. All right. I'm struggling with elections and the low vibration choices others make that affect the whole. Yeah. If we're in that victim-y vibe, and that's why the swamp is useful, you're like, all the thoughts you have. I can't believe people are doing this. Oh, people are so stupid. And you swamp out. It's not saying the thing that's going to bring you into like a low frequency state. It's resisting it. It's suppressing it. You're already kind of thinking this stuff. You might as well just like acknowledge it. I'm going to acknowledge the thoughts going through my system. And it's okay to have these thoughts. They're just thoughts. I love and welcome what's here. It's okay for me to feel this, right? Now you've cleared that and you can look at what's my intention. Because in that vibe, I'm a victim, right? Who's voting for what? And then that's going to happen to me. And I'm not going to get to have what I need because they didn't do this. That's a tough vibe to be in. Is it actually true? Got to always look at that. Now the mind's going to be like, let me show you all the evidence of how I am affected by everyone else. Okay. But can I absolutely know beyond any shadow of a doubt, I can't be free if XYZ happens, right? It's actually true. No. What if I could be free and living in joy, even if XYZ happens? Would I be willing to do that? Because the truth is, my choice to do that is what lightens up the world, is what brings the world into a higher state, is what now brings maybe like in the future, a whole different system of how we organize ourselves as a society, whole different system. Now that can't be comprehended in the consciousness we've been in, because people would be like, well, how would you handle blah, 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 blah. You can't answer that in the consciousness where the problem exists. We can only accelerate individually into our own joy, our own freedom, our own unwavering, maybe 2% more peace. And that's what allows a whole new consciousness to come in of, oh my gosh, we could do this. Why don't we do it that way? And a whole new creation in the world. All right. I love you guys. I am so grateful you're here. Chris said, I got it. I'm doing something for me. If I feel better in the process, then that's great too. Yep. It's not conditional. It's not for the outcome. Then my body heals. It's for me. It's for me in the now. It's the only thing that exists is this moment. All right. I am at drkimd.com. I did just announce I'll be live at this amazing event, Mind Heart Connect. It's in Melbourne, Australia. If there is any possibility of being there and this resonates with you, 1,000%, I'd invite you to take part in this amazing, amazing event. It'll be incredible. And the information for that is on my website. We do come here every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Mountain for MindBody TV. You can watch the replays in the MindBody community in Facebook, where is our online community, or on my YouTube channel. So I will see you there. We did just have an amazing month sharing live mentorship, one-on-one coaching opportunities for people who really want to activate cellularly, go deeper with this work, begin living this truth instead of just like sort of back of the mind thinking about it. So if you're ready for that, we do have live mentorship with incredible mind-body mentors who I have worked with for years and who really, I emphatically I'm just inspired by the work they're doing because it's like I couldn't do it better myself. So I'm grateful we now have that available for people. That's at drkimd.com/mentors. If you have not been introduced to Jess and Alicia, you can learn more about them on that page. So thank you guys. Thank you too, Mark. Thank you guys for being here. I will see you next week. Be sure and subscribe at drkimd.com for more in the future. And I will see you soon. Let me know how it goes with your gratitude practice. Bye.